So Set the Bar is a women's focused sports bar. We will primarily focus on women's sports. We will play some men's sports, but always women's sports on the big screens and usually on audio. We should be the 8th one in the United States.
You're listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast, where we uncover inspiring things about our community through the stories of inspiring people who call it home. I am Dee Harrell, and this is the creator of Oh My Omaha, the blog, and the blogosphere's friendliest face herself, Kim Reiner.
Hi there. Hello there. Our guests today are Molly Hike and Caitlin Osborne. Molly is the founder of Equitas Invest and Set the Bar. Caitlin is the community engagement and brand manager of Set the Bar. Thank you guys for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so it's been an unusual week, but I'm glad you guys made it into the studio. If you're listening, yesterday we had a blizzard after about like a 70-degree day, so kind of whiplash right now. But Set the Bar is a pretty unique business in Omaha. Why don't you tell listeners what it is and how did that idea, how did it come from an idea to what it is today?
Sure. So Set the Bar is a women's focused sports bar. We will primarily focus on women's sports. We will play some men's sports, but always women's sports on the big screens and usually on audio. We should be the 8th one in the United States. I had the idea, actually, the sports bra was the very first one in Portland.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah. And the second one was Rough and Tumble in Seattle. And I started seeing them post on social media. I thought, this is amazing. This is really cool. That was about 2 years ago when I first saw that. And then Caitlin and I met probably a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. Last 2 Octobers ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think somebody should do this in Omaha. Somebody should really do this in Omaha. No one was doing it. And I was getting ready to retire from my corporate job. And then Caitlin and I met and just chatted and we're like, I'm not sure what we're doing, but let's do it. No one else is doing it. So we want to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That first meeting, I think, we met for coffee down in Benson. And we chatted, it was scheduled. We scheduled for an hour, feel each other out. And then I think we ended up there for 2 or 3 hours, just talking about our vision and what we wanted it to be. And we felt so aligned. And then by the end, we're like, okay, yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah. You formed this idea and got together and decided, okay,
yeah,
this is going to work. I remember when you announced, I think, on Facebook, or maybe you didn't announce it, but I remember Pete Festerson had announced he saw the building, and that kind of seemed to me like it blew things up for you. I hadn't heard this was happening, and then when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that'll be big, and it just, a lot of people started sharing it. What was that like for
That was
you?
a wild week. I think we went live on social media, just hey, we're a thing, and on a Sunday in September, and then 2 days later was the city council meeting that Molly was at for our liquor license.
And then that night, Pete texted me and he said, hey, I'm going to tweet about this. I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad we got our socials live. We're ready to go. And it went viral. So the fact that he was very proud, one, that Benson was the place, because it's within his district, but then two, that we actually were going to be a women's focused sports bar and one of the first 10 in the United States.
And how did you feel about that reaction? Did you feel, that had at least been reassuring, your gut instinct, this was the right thing to do? And
yeah, we got so many messages and comments of positivity and oh my gosh, I can't wait for this, people wanting to come work for us, and just all kinds of messages of support and affirmation. So that was really, I think, validating of okay, yeah, this people, Omaha needs this, people want it, it's going to be a great space for community. And then it was kind of a whirlwind day. And then when the press kind of saw it, I think there was over 75,000 impressions on it. The press got a hold of it, and then Molly had quite the day of interviews. And
yeah, the next day my phone started blowing up, and who are all these people calling? I'm in meetings for my other business, and then I start reading the voicemails that they left, and it's reporters wanting to come and interview us and see the space. And it's like, it's just an empty box at this stage. But you're welcome to interview us. And essentially it's like the press is going to run the story one way or the other. So obviously we chose to be a part of the story and help tell, the vision and now it's a reality.
That's smart. Was Benson intentional, like neighborhood? Did you know this is probably where you want to put it, or?
It was. I looked at a number of different properties. No, there's no place in Omaha that's perfect because, transportation is a challenge, parking is a challenge. But I kept being drawn back to Benson just from it's a great place and really wanted to be embedded in a community. A community is part of our mission and values. And I love the rooftop patio that we're going to have. We'll have seats for 50 people out there, and I can't wait to be watching some women's sports out there.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we were drawn to that space. One funny tidbit, I always tell the story about the bathrooms because I feel like it was kind of a gut feeling, when you walk into a space, but different venues, there's like a line out the door at the women's bathroom because there's not enough stalls or whatever. We walked in this space. The great thing about the bathroom setup is that the women's has like 3 or 4 stalls, and then there's like one for men's. We're like, it kind of felt like it was meant to be a little bit. But yeah, like Molly said, Benson is amazing. I'm a Benson resident personally, and so I just love it being in my own community, and we're excited to partner with like Benson First Friday and like Molly said, really embed ourselves in the community of Benson. So.
Absolutely. Like I used to live near Benson, and it was right before it started to change the whole vibe of it, and now when I go back, I'm just like, wish that I had this when I was in my 20s, where I'm like, this is such a neat community to walk around. Like I bring my kids there. We do like First Fridays sometimes, and there's just an energy there that I think you guys picked a good neighborhood. So I just wanted to be sure that was, check if that was intentional or like a lucky break that you found a space that fit.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both.
Yeah. Is it, now women's sports is definitely, the profile has been raised on it. And here locally, we have Supernovas and Love Omaha. Did knowing that these teams, did you know about these teams being formed at the time when you had the business idea, or not?
So I had the opportunity to visit Rough and Tumble, the second sports bar in Seattle, and both Jen Barnes, the owner of Rough and Tumble, and Jenny Nguyen, the owner of the Sports Bra, have published and said, don't do this in a community or in a city where you don't have a foundation of a professional sport. Well, one, we have the Huskers, which I think for Nebraska is our professional team. And then secondly, when I heard that there was a professional team coming with Supernovas, that was the validation that said, okay, I think Omaha is ready now for this. And I think we can really build upon that.
Absolutely. So have you guys opened yet? Like started having people come in and watching games, or is it kind of like soft? Or
this is actually like the perfect timing for this conversation because we just put out our grand opening announcement a couple hours ago this morning. So yeah, we've had a couple soft openings over the past week, friends and family and investors, and that's been really fun to just like see people in the space and enjoying it. And now, we're grand opening this weekend, Friday through Sunday, and we'd have liked to be open a little earlier, but I think perfect timing with March Madness, the first round this weekend. And then the Love Omaha is also at home this weekend, so we'll be doing some fun little pop-ups and giveaways with them as well.
That's awesome. Are you going to be a bar that has like a team or a particular sport that people are like, definitely got to go watch it there? Or is it, do you guys have a favorite team?
I think we each have our own teams. I definitely don't want to other the team that I'm going to not be wearing that day. But I do think it's a place where everyone can cheer for their own team. We certainly are, volleyball, I think, is the foundation for Nebraska. I think basketball, soccer are huge, just different levels, but we're also excited to show hockey, rugby. We've had so many requests. We're even planning on the pinball tournament, which we didn't know was a thing. So that will be showing next Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Molly. So Molly's a Creighton alumni, and then I grew up going to. My parents had Nebraska volleyball season tickets, and so we've had a kind of a fun back and forth when, some red and blue on volleyball game days, which is fun. But yeah, like we want everyone to feel comfortable. But I don't think we're gonna have we want to support the athletes and the movement in general of all the teams and be a space for them. So I don't think we are gonna do we are like the Supernovas bar, or we want to host events for all of the above.
Perfect. Yeah. That's fine. So tell me a little bit about yourselves outside of creating this cool space. What do you guys do when you're not starting an awesome new bar?
Go ahead.
Oh gosh, that's a great question. So my background is in nonprofit work and community work, and so that's kind of the roundabout way of how I landed in this community engagement and brand position. I love forming connections and bringing people together in that way. So that's kind of how I landed here. I was in the arts space for a long time, and then I had about a year and a half at my alma mater, UNO, in the community engagement space. But beyond that, like I said, I'm a Benson resident. I'm a cat mom. I play volleyball still recreationally with a group of friends that we've been doing that for several years, which is really fun. Crochet, read, kind of all those fun things. But this really does right now is the big focus, and time suck, but in a good way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after I retired from corporate life, I was traveling quite a bit. So I had the opportunity to go all over to Paris, to Italy, number of different places. That time has come and gone. But I'm excited to focus now locally. I love to read. My love language is bringing people together, which is why I think Set the Bar is a perfect thing for me. I also love building fun spaces, and Set the Bar will be elevated in a number of ways. The vibe, the food, the culture, and the drinks and offerings that we have. So we're definitely trying to do things a little differently, and that kind of goes back to my roots of I always want to break the mold and do things a little differently. As an example, I was a computer engineer and the only female in my first corporate world. So I just like to break the rules a little bit and do things differently.
Yeah. I didn't know you guys would be serving food. What kind of food will you have there?
Yeah, it's elevated bar food. Okay. So we'll have great shareables. We will have salads, sandwiches, fries.
So a couple yummy desserts. We actually have a cool partnership with E-Creamery.
Okay.
With their Supernovas ice cream flavor. We've brought that in on the menu. And Molly mentioned Rough and Tumble. They were so generous to let us use one of their dessert recipes as well to kind of pay homage to them. So yeah, we've had really great feedback so far. Our chef, executive chef Kristen, comes to us from MCC and has just an amazing culinary
program. Like any restaurant that has a chef that graduated from there is they're so lucky. Like
she's incredible. She's incredible, and she's built a really fantastic menu. We've gotten such great feedback so far. So everything I've tried is yummy.
It's delicious. The team. So we had the opportunity. Well, first of all, Kristen's been part of our team since probably December, maybe even before that.
Yeah, last fall.
And until then, we hadn't had the opportunity to actually eat her food because we hadn't had a kitchen. And so when she cooked for the team, so all of our servers, bartenders, server assistants, hosts, dishwashers, everybody was invited to come taste the food, and it was delicious. And she said, in fact, I can cook. I'm like, well, that's great to know, because that's one of the staples for us.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. So my next question was going to be all right, what would you pair a visit to Set the Bar, and then where else would they go in Benson? So if you guys know your neighbors, where would you recommend people just to go be sure to check out while you're in the area?
Oh gosh,
Your
I mean,
favorite
I
shops,
have favorites. Yeah, if depending on what you're looking for, like food wise, like there's such an eclectic, like array of stuff in Benson. You know, you have elevated au courant, Yoshitomo, Ika. Oh gosh, JoJo's Benson Brewery. Like there's B5, great beer in Benson. More laid back and relaxed if you want to check out the Sydney or Jake's or wherever. You can pretty much find any kind of experience you want in Benson. And you mentioned shops, like our state representative Megan Hunt has Ceremony and 5-9. Those are great little shops for gifts. I get all my like greeting cards there because they're so cute and like different from
that is cute stationery.
Yeah.
Or just pins and
so there there's Benson is great to just bop around.
I agree. Outside of Benson, you want to tell anybody, like, do you have any other local favorite small businesses that you want to shout out to? Or any, like, you mentioned eCreamery as a partner, any other?
Yeah, I mean, I love going to Semo in Fremont, one of my favorite.
Which one? What?
Semo.
Oh,
so it's a cute little Italian, delicious
cool
place. Chef Drew has been amazing and supportive, helping get everything, just answering all of my toast related questions. I love going to Dolomiti. I also love going to, what are your favorites?
I used to work down in the Little Bohemia area, so anything on South 13th Street, Fizzy's, Lumen, Beercade. I mean, we have one in Benson, but the bigger space down there. There's so many cute shops. I think Dusk Gifts and Goods. I like to get birthday gifts there. So anything in Little Bohemia, I love. And then you mentioned Dolomiti. Millwork Commons is great. Cross Train Archetype, Sweet Mags. I mean, I could go on and on.
All the local ones.
Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned a couple of breweries, and that reminded me. So what do you have on tap? Do you have anything local, or is it kind of a mix? Or
we do. Yeah, 5 out of 6 taps are local.
Oh, cool.
Actually. So we've got 2 from Empyrean down in Lincoln. One is actually the Supernova's Common Ale, so their partnership with them. We have one from Site 1 Brewing on Farnham. And then we have a Cerro cider as well. Nice. And then some domestics and lots of cans and other options, and NA as well. We've had actually a big, I think a big demand for mocktails, NA. I think that movement is also, I think, growing quite a bit. So yeah, a good variety for everybody.
Our GM has, started making quite the selection of cocktails. So our cocktails are all a twist on your traditional classics, and we've had some fun naming them. One of my favorites is Let's Go to the Video. So, typically when you see the replay going, my Uncle Jim would yell, "Let's go to the video." So that's an appropriately named cocktail with whiskey and a little absinthe rinse. We've got Red Card. So that's a non-alcoholic.
Yeah, that one's really good. There's the margarita with a little twist. There's some mezcal in there and some hibiscus. So yeah, Juan is great, our general manager. So that the 4 of us with Chef Kristen kind of make up the core team, and we've had a lot of fun kind of building all this out together.
So for each of you, what are some upcoming sporting events or tournaments that are you looking forward to seeing on your guys' screen?
Well, March Madness, number 1. So, Nebraska's playing tomorrow at 5 and Creighton's playing at 6:15 on Saturday. So I'm super excited to watch those 2 games and hopefully a couple others following that.
Right.
I'm excited to bring some watch parties for away games for the volleyball team. We've got it all kind of lined up.
Yeah, I'm excited. Soccer, the National Women's Soccer League just kicked off last weekend. Our closest team is the KC Current, so we have a lot of Current fans. We actually last weekend just had a really fun visit from one of our sister bars down in Kansas City, the Dub, who hopefully is opening this spring. They're originally from Omaha and popped up and surprised us last weekend, and they were wearing all their Current gear for the first game. So looking forward to soccer. Yeah, the pro volleyball season will go. The Supernovas play through May. I'm a season ticket holder of them and Love, so always look forward to those home games.
Then WNBA starting in May.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, and there's a new, it's called Women's Elite Rugby, is the first United States professional women's rugby league is kicking off this weekend actually too. There's 6 teams in the first season, so kind of looking forward to that. We have been in talks with our local pro women's rugby team, the Goats, and doing some rugby watch parties with them. So I'm just looking forward to like sharing the watch experience with everybody versus like having to stream something from my laptop or, wherever you can find it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about that communal vibe of being there and celebrating or commiserating with fellow sports fans. Yeah.
We got softball ramping up too. We don't want to forget. So
of course, my nieces were big on softball.
Did you play anything? Were you an athlete?
I did soccer, and now just in the summer sand volleyball, but just very recreational, like at our pool on that league, and so it's more just for fun. And I can't believe I never played volleyball like in high school because it always conflicted with like when I was on club soccer, I didn't even consider volleyball, and now I'm like, I like that sport and I like watching it, so I wish I had played it earlier, but my daughter plays it now, and it's just amazing how much that sport has grown. Like it is in Nebraska especially, it is ultra competitive even at younger ages now, and just we're so lucky to have like two major teams here in Omaha. So
it's been cool to see the pipeline of with some of the Nebraska players returning to play on the local pro teams, and like kind of seeing that that growth and the opportunity for people to play professionally but stay local and like be near their home and their family is just amazing.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like I've gone to a couple Supernova games, and just I could just imagine that, especially that we went to the Open, the very first game, the premiere, and just the excitement, the whole CHI was just like vibrating with excitement when that team came out. I'm like, this is a moment, so it's pretty cool. Yeah,
very exciting.
Is there anything about Set the Bar or just anything in general that you forgot to mention that you want to give a shout out to? Or
I think everybody in the community has been extremely supportive. Even those local businesses who might be perceived as competitors have been super helpful. So any questions asked, they've been super willing to help. Knowing that I'm not from the industry, I'm not the smartest person in the room. So I either want to get advice from those who know more than I, or hire people that know more than I. So I think everyone in the community, as you would expect in Omaha, has been rock stars.
That's good to hear. Like, I don't, with past guests, I don't think I've ever heard anything where it's like, even within breweries, where it's just like, there shouldn't be a competition, because like when one boat, I'm trying to think here, like we all rise with the tide sort of thing. Like it's more like we want to cultivate people who are, for breweries, craft beer drinkers, rather than picking just one place. And same with like sports bars and
I can call out Phil Schaefer, who owns Lola's and Big Sky. He's been amazing, helping with overall budget, just kind of more numbers type of guy. Kisa, who owns Finicky Frank's, she's been fabulous with like details on not recipes, but menu and things like that. I mentioned Chef Drew from Semo. I've asked random questions to Tim at Dolomiti. And then Tim Addison at Addie's has also been extremely supportive of having this locally here. So just a shout out to them.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. So when we end our episode, we always ask the same question to our guests, and it is, where do you find inspiration in Omaha?
I can go first. I think I was thinking about this on my way over, and especially not yesterday with the blizzard, but the day before when it was 80 degrees and I got to go outside and feel the sunshine. I find inspiration outside. I think we have, it could be it's not perfect, but we have a decent trail system, and I like to go out for walks. And where I live in Benson, it's great to be able to get outside and just get some steps in, and that kind of gets the blood flowing and ideas moving. So getting outside in Omaha, I think, is and going downtown on the new riverfront, and there's just little pockets and areas where just getting out and walking around is super fun. And I also mentioned I was in the arts world for a long time, and I think Omaha is a really vibrant arts community. And there's so many individual artists and organizations that provide, help to boost that vibrancy of our community. And even just, you can see it in Benson, just looking out from our windows, all the murals and, when Benson First Friday is going on. So I find inspiration from those folks who just continually try and make Omaha a better place and inspire me to do the same.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I get stuck in my own little routine of going to the same places or doing the same things just because I'm comfortable with that. But, taking my godchild to the Luminarium or to the zoo and just all the fabulous places that others experience when they're usually tourists, making sure that I take time out to go do those things and remember how special Omaha is. I've grown up in Omaha and love this community, and everyone's fabulous.
Yeah, I had a couple friends come up last weekend who are from out of town, and when you host guests from out of town, you kind of see Omaha through their lens a little bit. Like you said, when tourists come, they go to all these different places, but you kind of take them for granted a little bit when you live here, and it's just always fun to see Omaha through other people's eyes, and it reminds me, oh my gosh, Dundee, there's just all these little pockets of amazingness, and so it's just a nice reminder.
Thank you so much for your time and coming on the show.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks for listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast. We want to thank our guest, Hurrdat Media, all of you for your support, and the Omaha community at large.
So from D&I, keep on exploring.